Can you see the joy in my face? Hi everybody, it's Lauren Brown, also known as Raggedy Royal on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now YouTube. And today we're going to be doing an entire face of drugstore makeup. So today we're doing this drugstore makeup look. The whole base is drugstore. The eyelashes are drugstore. The eyeliner, the waterline, the mascara, the brows, the lips, everything is drugstore. I love drugstore makeup. Drugstore makeup really did like build an entire era of me and makeup because I started doing makeup when I was like very, very young. My mom bought me my first makeup kit at the age of 3. It's always been in my life. There's pictures of me at family reunions with like blue eyeshadow blown out everywhere at age of 8. But when I first started like, you know, buying my own makeup, of course I was buying from drugstores. But when I first started like getting into watching haul videos and really like wanting to, I didn't even know I wanted to film it at the time, but like I would practice being a YouTuber in my room with like no camera. I would just like be talking to the mirror because that's what I saw like online. That's like the content I was consuming. So drugstore makeup, like buying all the Maybelline baby face, no, the baby lips, I'm aging myself, but the baby lips, the EOS lip balms, like buying the Wet n Wild Color Icon blushes, like drugstore makeup has always been part of my life, so I'm really excited to make this video. I'm not gonna be before you long. If you enjoyed this video along the way, please make sure to subscribe down below. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for 47,000. Coming for that big 100,000, that big plaque this year. And if you learn anything, please like it along the way. Let's get into the video. Hi everybody. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the brows. This is the NYX The Brow Glue, and let me just be 100% honest with you. I have used this to the bone. I'm gonna need to cut it open. I didn't mean to get this real this early in the tutorial, but hold on. Okay, so I'm going to use the NYX The Brow Glue, and I'm going to run that through the brow hairs as I, you know, coat the brow hairs. I do apply a little bit of pressure just to kind of give them that microbladed look. Brows will be, they're important, but I do not like to spend too much time, too much energy on them unless I'm doing like a colored brow or something, a blonde brow, something special. When it comes to just my brown brows, I like to, you know, comb them out, fill them in, and let that be that. So I can get to the base, which I feel like definitely takes more time and attention. Once I comb all the hairs up, I'm going to just kind of angle them off like that, combing the brow hairs down. Now let's do the other side. This is probably my favorite brow glue right now. And that's not just drugstore, that's drugstore high-end. Every brow glue that I've tried, I love this brow glue. It's not so tight that like it's uncomfortable. It doesn't leave like a super residue where you can't like comb through your brows and it starts like shedding. Now, if you've never had that happen, you're probably like, girl, what? But it does happen. Where it's like you'll scratch your eyebrow and then like the product will start falling everywhere. It's not that. It's strong enough where it'll keep the brow hairs in place, but it's not too much. And it's pretty affordable, so shout out NYX. All right, we're gonna let that dry for just a second because I'm gonna be using a brow pen on top. The brow pen on top of the liquid will just slip and slide and not give us what we want. So we're gonna let that dry for a second. While that dries, we're gonna go ahead and prime our face. So we're gonna be using the Milani Cosmetics Skin Quench Hydrating Primer. And I like to put that on the back of my hand and then just, you know, dab it all around. I'm pretty sure that the foundation that we're using today is matte. I have normal to dry skin, so I really never use a matte product, but it's not too, you know, it's not too dry. But we were gonna go ahead and give it a little hydrating supplement with the primer. I love a hydrating primer anyways, so this is great. And this is from Milani. Love this. Now I'm going to take this XO Cosmetics brush and blend this out. Just making sure everything is nice and coated. Yes. Okay. So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to fill in the brows. I'm going to be using the Milani Cosmetics Weekend Brow, and this is in shade Espresso. And what I like to do is just draw little brush strokes to replicate how the brow hairs look in the places that are a little bit sparser. I like to make sure to use a super, super light hand when it comes to the front of the brow, because naturally the front of your brow is just lighter. It's supposed to be like ombre. It's lighter up here, darker at the tail. And I want to keep that going, or else you have those block brow situations where it's like, oh my gosh, she's so angry. You know, we don't want to go for that. Doing the same on the other side. Yes, and that's it for the brows. Now let's move on to the face. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Normal to Oily 310 Sun Beige. That's a long name, but I want to make sure that you get all of the details because I'm pretty sure this line is full of a lot of different foundations. Put that in the back of my hand as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and dot around the face. I like to do this because I feel like pouring the foundation into the brush would just be so unsanitary, and I don't clean my brushes enough. That's no secret. I feel like nobody, well, I'm not gonna say nobody, but most people don't clean their brushes enough for you to be pouring like actual makeup in it. And you see what I'm saying? So I like to put it on the back of my hand also so I can kind of disperse it. Putting on the back of my hand will also help because I'm going to be using this flat brush. This is a Morphe M410. And I'm going to be going into that foundation on the back of my hand and cleaning up the brows. I like to do this right before I blend in the rest of the face of foundation. And what I do is I just like to go above the brow. You use some from the back of your hand. You can use some from your forehead. Above the brow and clean that up. Storage ran out. We're back. So I love this foundation, even though it is matte, right, and for oily skin. Because first of all, the color is perfect. Now, usually when I use a foundation and a tinted moisturizer mixed together. Because one, I don't like how foundations can be too cakey and tinted moisturizers not, I'm not saying not cakey enough, but not strong enough, right? Tinted moisturizers, they need a little oomph. Foundation needs a little something to tone it down. So I like to use a tinted moisturizer and a foundation. But I found that the consistency of this foundation is like not too cakey, but still enough. And then also, I usually use a tinted moisturizer and a foundation because it's very hard to find a foundation that's just like perfectly my skin tone. Usually they're just like a little bit too dark, a little bit too light, a little bit too cool, a little bit too warm. But this foundation I can use just by itself, and I feel like it's a fantabulous match. So shout out Maybelline, you knew what you were doing on that one. Let's move to concealer. I'm going to be taking the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Full Wear Concealer, and I'm going to use first shade 365 Cashew, and I'm going to really concentrate this out towards my ear, right? So not right underneath the eye because we're going to add the highlight shade. You know, don't worry, I'm going to explain why. But I also do like to do a little bit underneath my nose because under my nose gets so red. And yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and be proactive and cover that up. So yeah, right underneath that eye, then down to the nose. Now, I don't like the way that concealer looks on my forehead, so I usually don't put concealer on my forehead. I usually do like a little method of a concealer that's 1 or 2 shades lighter than my skin tone out towards the ear, and then a very light one underneath. Now, why do you even use concealer in the first place? You wear concealer because concealer is adding back in the depth and definition to the face. So concealer and highlight, contour, all of that. I'm gonna make a video on Contour 101, like really explaining it. But we're gonna be using, by the way, the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer again. But this is in shade 345 Oatmeal. But you're going to add these highlights and contours back to the face because as you can see before I put on this foundation, if you need a reminder, just go ahead and high speed scroll back. Before I put on this foundation, there were highlights and contours just naturally in your face. You can see where your jawbone is. It's a depth there. It's a darkness there. Some parts of your face are lighter. Some parts of your face are darker. That's what makes you look like a 3D figure and not like a 2D figure, a stick figure drawn on a piece of paper, right? So you need depth. But when you put foundation on top, that just gives you like a blank canvas, right? So you put that foundation on and then you lose all those depths and highlights and you're kind of just like all over one color. But to add back in those depths and highlights to accentuate your features, you know, maybe to contour your features if you want something to look a little bit smaller than it does in real life or a little bit bigger than it does in real life. That's why these depths, these highlights, these contours, these concealers are important. Also, anytime you use a highlighter on a face, I've said this in eyeshadow tutorials, lip tutorials, face tutorials, it always rings true. Anytime you use a lighter shade somewhere or a highlight shade somewhere, that's going to draw the eye there. So I want to draw your eye to the center of my face, which is why I'm going to be putting this light concealer there. Also, it's going to help later on, spoiler alert, when we go to do the nose contour. So that's just a little crash course on why I do what I do and what it means. I always try to be very thorough in explaining things because I realized that if you're trying to learn from a tutorial, you may, and I'm going to be using a Morphe M173 to be blending this out, you may just copy things that you've seen done but not understand why you're doing them. So then when a problem arises, like say for example, you're like, I feel like my under eye is too dull, you don't know how to fix that because I didn't explain to you why we add the highlight shade and what the highlight shade looks like. I didn't put words to it, I didn't put names to it, I didn't explain it. So that's why I always try to do a lot of explaining so that it's not just like, oh, I can only do my makeup when Lauren's here, I'm watching a tutorial. I want you to be able to be empowered to do your makeup, and empowered and encouraged to do your makeup whenever, and understand like, oh no, I get this, like I heard what she said and I can like reverse engineer this for any problem I may have. Yes, I'm blending that out. Now to blend out the rest of the concealer, I'm going to be using a Real Techniques contour brush, just something a little bit bigger. Also, I don't want that super light highlight all the way out here, so I like to just switch it up for blending out both concealers. Sometimes I blend out the darker one first, sometimes I blend out the lighter one first. You know, there's nothing to worry about. I want to go on to the nose a little bit because it will help me out later with the nose contour. Yes. Okay, now let's go into blush. I'm really excited. I love this blush. I've talked about it so many times. I just talked about it in my Q&A. People ask me my favorite blush. I talk about this blush all the time. This is the Milani's Cheek Kiss blush, and this is in shade Blushing Berry. They have a couple shades that I love, but I love this Blushing Berry. I feel like it has a depth that the coral one that I love doesn't have, so I love to use this these days. I'm going for a raw type of blush. Okay, walk with me, I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I'm gonna be using this angle brush from Color Rain, recipes of Color Rain. I hope that Color Rain can come back. I love that brand so much. I'm just gonna be using this angle brush. It's a stippling brush, and I'm gonna go into this cream blush. So I like to do a 2 blush process. Okay, I like to do a cream blush, then we're gonna set the face, then I'm gonna go back in with the powder blush on top. But this right here, love it. And I'm gonna go ahead and just apply that to my cheeks. I'm going all the way up towards the ear. Yes. I'm also gonna go a little bit on the forehead. My happiness just isn't in one place, you know what I mean? I gotta spread it around. Can you see the joy in my face? This is looking good. This is looking good. Milani is one of my favorite. Like, all these brands, you'll see that I'm using a lot of the same brands. I love Milani. Like, love Milani for so many different things, and especially for this blush right here. Now we're gonna contour. Okay, so I'm gonna be taking this black Opal True Color, and I think this is a, yep, this is a stick foundation. This is in shade Carob, and it's a little too dark for me. Okay, it's a little too dark, so we're going to use a very light touch. Just doing a little there, and I'm doing it where there's naturally a contour. So you see where your draw line is? Naturally, this little part of your face is a little bit darker. That's where I'm applying it. Now, some people do the 3 method, so they'll go from their forehead down here and underneath their chin. I used to go underneath my chin and it would get everywhere. It would mess up all my shirts, so I stopped doing that. But if you just want to use like a guidance for your placement, a nice 3. Okay, so I'm gonna take this Morphe V108, and this is just the contour brush that I use like for everything, and I'm going to go in with small circles and blend that out. Small circles, not trying to contour the hair, but naturally it will get on there. My 8-year-old cousin was like, why is your hair orange? Because my face is orange. She was low-key playing with me. She was trying to play with me, but you know, I believe the children are our future. I'm patient. I'm like, you know why my hair is orange. I had to contour this forehead. Very nice. Now we're gonna do the nose. But to do the nose, I'm not going to do that, like put the foundation on my face like I did on the cheeks, because that would be reckless. So I'm not going to do that. I did that on the cheeks just because I wanted a little bit of control, and because it's a stick. And you know, rarely do you get to just use a stick makeup and like actually just throw it on the face. For the nose though, we're not going to do that. We're going to use a brush and lightly tap the top. So, okay, so I'm going to use this small angle brush. This is a Morphe E62, and I'm going to just tap onto the top of the product. I'm going to go on the back of my hand a little bit because I really don't want too much darkness on the nose. It's easier to apply not enough and then apply more than to apply too much and take it down. So I like to use the back of my hand. Pretty much you've seen me use it for so many different steps, but especially to get some sort of control on the amount of stuff on the brush. Because the brush is brown, it's kind of hard to see eyeballing it. So I like to just use my back of my hand for that. And I'm going to go on the sides of the nose. My nose contour is not super complicated. It's not super intricate. I'm going to just kind of follow the lines of my nose on the side, and I'm going to drag that up right into underneath the front of the brow. You see how naturally all I'm doing is copying those natural contours in my face. I feel like that is like the easiest way to approach base makeup. So just think about what features you already have and enhance them, and not like try to build something new. I mean, you can if you want to, but that's when things get a little bit more difficult. And I'm going to make a small little V underneath my nose, and I'm going to connect it. I'm going to connect the lines on the side and the V, and that'll be that. If you need to clean it up, you can go back and take that brush that you used for the very light concealer and just kind of put everything in its place. As you can see, the bottom of my eyes are creasing a little bit. I love that. Because people always ask me, like, how do you make sure your bottom of your eyes don't crease? I mean, there's naturally creases there, and there's naturally wrinkles there, especially some people more than others. So my concealer does crease, guys. I'm glad that you can see it in the in the flesh. It does crease. All I have to do is just blend it out. Setting powder can help with that, but we have to manage our expectations. Okay, it's like filling in the cracks of a sidewalk, and you're like, I just put water over the entire sidewalk. Why is it not even? Because there were cracks in the sidewalk. Like, there are wrinkles in the face, and that's okay because you are a human, and that's how skin works. All right, this is coming along quite nicely, don't you think? Now let's set the face. Okay, so to set the face today, we're going to be using the NYX Cosmetics Can't Stop Won't Stop setting powder, and this is in shade Light. And this is a mattifying powder. I feel like in every other one of my base videos, I've used a loose powder, but we're keeping it with the drugstore theme today. And I like this powder. I actually did a brand deal including this powder, and that's where I found out about it, and I was like, this is hot. And that was 4 years ago. Still got it, still love it. So there's that. I'm going to be using, this is a throwback Real Techniques brush, right? But you can still use the same contour brush that we used before. Whatever you got is fine. And I'm going to press that in right underneath the under eye and going out towards the ear. Now, if I was doing highlight on the cheeks, I wouldn't take this all the way out because I like the highlight to blend onto the concealer and blend in with the face, like the warmth of the face. I don't know, it makes it glow better. But since we're not using any of that today, but we are not doing highlight today. This is a matte face, so I can take this all the way out. I'm going to take it a little bit on top of the nose contour just to, I love that it's sharp, but it don't have to be too harsh. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to go a little bit on the sides, on the forehead, of course. And because this foundation is a matte foundation, that's probably why I don't feel like I need so much setting powder. Like, I don't need a super loose setting powder because everything is already kind of matte and just smooth and seamless. I feel like whenever I use this foundation, whenever I do this, because I've done this base a couple of times, it just looks smooth. I just feel like it looks smooth. All right, now let's go in with our last blush. I'm going to be using the Beauty Bakerie Snackaroons blush, and this is in pumpkin. This is orange, right? I love the deep berry and the orange combo. I just love that. I'm gonna be taking, this is a Color Rain blush. Color Rain, I'm gonna miss you. And I'm gonna go in to the powder brush. I know this blush is powerful, so I'm gonna just do a little swipe top of my hand, and then we're gonna go right on top of where we added that blush before. And on the nose. You can kind of see the difference already. This is definitely brighter, bolder. And then we're going to add some on this side. If you feel like you added too much, guess what? Go back in with that powder. That'll settle it. That'll settle the score. Okay, so I'm going to go into this Wet n Wild Color Icon palette, and that's because I don't really have a favorite drugstore highlighter. And I'm going to go into this shade right here. This is the Call Me Sunshine palette, by the way. I'm going to go into that ivory shade right there and just take a little bit on my finger just so I can highlight my nose and highlight my cupid's bow. Y'all know I don't do no lips without highlighting my cupid's bow, so that's a non-negotiable. Now, quickly, for mascara, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Big Mood Waterproof Mascara. And I'm going to cover up those top lashes. Y'all know I'm not too particular about my top lashes because I'm going to put on faux lashes. Also, I just dropped a video about how to apply faux lashes. It's a much easier technique that I've recently learned. So if you want to, learn how to apply faux lashes, go check that video out. Proud of it. And it's going to make putting on lashes so much easier. I have not gone back since. In fact, I'm going to throw on my lashes right now. So I'm going to be using the Kiss Lash Drip Lashes in You Do You. I've already cut them to size. If you want to know all about customizing the lash, how to put the lash on, all those best practices, don't worry. Go check that video out. I'm also going to be using the Kiss Super Strong Hold Eyelash Adhesive in Clear. Both are drugstore. Shout out to Kiss. To be frank, I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to put them on camera. And I don't want to have y'all sitting here forever. If you want to know how to put on lashes, once again, the video will come up in the cards. For lashes, we're wearing the Kiss Lash Drip You Do You, a frequent friend to the show. And for the eyeliner, I added the e.l.f. Expert Liquid Eyeliner in Jet Black, also another frequent friend to the show, because I tried to, go against my new rule of always putting on a little eyeliner before I put on my lashes. That's why I had to cut all that out. I was wrestling with the lashes. I had to put some eyeliner on to really blend it, but I think that all is well. If you want to know how I put on my lashes, including this liner tip, check out my this may be like 3 videos ago. I'm consistent. What can I say? 3 videos ago, I posted how I apply my lashes the quickest and easiest way, so check that video out. Now we're going to go into the waterline. I'm going to be taking another frequent friend of the show. This is the NYX Cosmetics Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. I'm going to be using this small craft brush. You can use whatever brush you have. I got this one from Michaels. I'm be going right onto the crayon. I know the crayon is too big for that little space in that waterline, so I like to use one of these so I can be very precise. And we're gonna go along the eye, so not perpendicular, not stabbing yourself in the eye, but parallel along. Yes. Okay. Now let's move on to lips. I'm very excited. So I'm going to be using the Revlon ColorStay Matte Light Crayon, and this is in shade On Cloud Wine. Yes. And I'm going to line the lips. We're going for a red lip today. You knew that. It was in the thumbnail, but in case you didn't, we're going for a red lip today. So I'm going to start on the bottom lip. Starting in the right corner, going all the way over to the left corner. I like to do a little to really transfer that color, to make it a little bit easier on me. Then lining that top lip. The only thing about this product is that I wish that I could sharpen it. Like, I wish I could make it super sharp, because I feel like when pencils are super sharp and even just a little bit thinner, you can get that precise line. I'm gonna just use a small brush. And that's not to say you need to. I've done this lip. I've used this before without a brush, but it's just a little, it's just a little bit easier. Since I went outside the line, the job is going to be an overline. Simple. This width of this crayon does come in handy if you're going to do like coloring the entire lip. So shout out Revlon. Actually, I think we're going to keep going with the pencils. I'm going to be using the Milani Ludicrous Matte Lip Crayon, and this is in shade Truth or Dare. And I'm going to add the, ooh, pretty. Great. I haven't used these 2 products together ever, but I think I love it. Hold on. I'm going to go back in with that little brush that I had earlier, just to blend a little bit. Seems like we may have a new combo. I'm debating making a video on lip combos, drugstore lip combos for Valentine's Day and just because. So let me know if you want to see that down below. Okay, I'm going to quickly put on a little bit of mascara on the bottom of my eyelashes. And I think we're done. Gotta do the horizontal wiggle. Got to. Okay, so here is the final face. And here's the final total. I'm gonna add up how much everything costs. Thanks so much for watching. I think I added a little bit of orange to the center of the lip. I think I added a little bit of orange to the center of the lip. It wasn't really needed now that I'm watching it back, but just in case, for accuracy's sake, I'm gonna add the price of that to the total. This video is probably going to be on the thumbnail or in the title, so I'm waiting in suspense, but y'all are not waiting in suspense. Shout out to all the drugstore makeup brands. I love affordable makeup. I love makeup that is accessible. You can go, because sometimes it's not even just about the affordability. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to order something from online. I don't want to have to find this brand in a whole other country. So shout out to all the drugstore brands that have been working so hard. I started out using drugstore makeup. I used to run a CVS down, you hear me? And some of these brands I've loved forever. Wet n Wild, NYX, Milani, and I've been blessed to actually work with a few of them. So shout out to them. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to, you know, subscribe down below. We're almost to 50,000 subscribers. We just hit 47,000. Thank you so much for that. And also make sure to give it a like. Let me know down below what you learned. Let me know down below what video you want to see next. It's Valentine's Day. I'm going to be on a run, okay? So let me know what you want to see. You gotta make sure there's no lipstick on your teeth. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta pause the world and make sure there's no lipstick on your teeth. We're good. Back to the plot. If you like this video, if you enjoyed me, you know, you can check me out in the shorts tab. I do more videos over there. I post more looks. If you want to see more of my looks, more of my life, you can also check me out on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, all at Raggedy World, the same way it's spelled down below. And I will see you in my next video. If you have any more questions about anything on the face, guess what? There's probably a video for it. How to do my lashes. There's so many base videos I've done. Waterline 101. How to do a red lip. So many different things. So just stay a while on the channel and hopefully you can learn some more. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.